Hello, how are you? This is Mr. Muffin at MrMuffin'sTrains in Atlanta, Indiana. We're going to put together a little video to kind of do an overview of our trains, O-gauge trains, our favorite size of trains. And so I thought I would show you that. If we start at the beginning of model railroading, there's 4 gauges of trains. There's N-gauge trains, which are about the size of my finger. There are HO trains, which are half O-gauge size, that's where HO comes from, which run on a little 2-rail track. And then the third largest are O-gauge trains, that's what we have. I happen to have one right here. This is an O-gauge train. One of the advantages of O-gauge trains is they're relatively heavy and they're very sturdy. So they stay on the track. They go on very easily. We just line up the wheels and set them on there. Just like that. And then larger than O-gauge are G-gauge trains, and G stands for garden. And those are the trains we run outside. Let's talk about the track systems for a minute with O-gauge trains. O-gauge trains were invented by Lionel in the year 1900. They were invented to basically build display layouts in the large stores in downtown New York City, to put them in the windows for people to see at the holiday, brightly lit trains. And they used a 3-rail track like this. This is the common track when I was a kid, 3-rail tubular track. The reason we have 3 rails is the center rail holds the power and the ground are the 2 outside rails. This gives us the ability to take the train track and turn it back on itself, so we can do a loop back to the main track, which we needed to do in those display windows in New York City. They were very narrow. This track has been used since 1900. It's gone through some refinement. This is the track I remember when I was a kid. We would put it on the carpet and run our trains on it. This tubular track has a little bit of a disadvantage in that fibers from the carpet can get into the train, as well as oil from the train can get into the carpet. Mom doesn't like that. We don't sell 2-rail, this type of track anymore. There's still some available. You can buy it on eBay. Maybe you have some. If you have it and you'd like to clean it up, go by Lowe's or Menards or Home Depot and get a Scotch-Brite pad. And you can use a Scotch-Brite pad to rub this track and clean it up. We can't use steel wool because the steel wool fibers will end up on the track and that'll get in the train and ruin everything. Lionel replaced the tubular track with a track system they call Fast Track. Fast Track has the advantage of a built-in roadbed to protect the carpet, and then pins and connectors to connect the pieces together. The other cool thing about Fast Track is on the bottom of every piece there's a place where you can slip on wires in order to power it. So you can power this any place you need to. It also has holes with screws if you'd like to screw this track system down. Next is MTH Real Track, very similar to Lionel's Fast Track. This is the track that's made by MTH. It's got a darker roadbed. Again, we've got a solid roadbed to protect the carpet and keep carpet fibers from getting into the train. Again, we have screw holes already drilled into this, so if you want to screw this thing down. Unlike the Lionel track, the MTH track has a clip-out space here where you can slide in a power connector. Just take a pair of pliers, clip it on there, snap that off, and you can put that assembly in place. Both of these track systems commonly come in the ready-to-run train sets. We'll show you shots of those earlier. We tell customers it doesn't really matter which track system you use. Pick the ready-to-run train set that you like and just stay with that track system, either Lionel's or MTH's. The fourth track system to talk about is this track system that's made in the USA. It has real wood ties and the track is hand spiked. It's still hollow, it's still tubular in design, has these pins to connect it together. This particular piece of track is made by a company called Gargraves, and they have a companion company, a separate legal entity, called Ross Custom Switches that makes switches that go with this track. Very realistic looking. The alternative to that is Atlas Track, which is this piece here. Atlas is the company that invented Sectional Track. That's what we see here is a piece of Sectional Track. At the end of World War II, there were club people, railroad club people, out of New Jersey that wanted Atlas to make jigs for them so they could solder up their own track. And Atlas, being a smart outfit, said, well, why don't I just make the track? So they invented Sectional Track, and that's what we see here. This is a piece of Atlas Sectional Track in O gauge. It is a solid nickel-silver rail, which lasts forever. And then they have joiners that go on the ends here to connect the track. This track is very easy to power because they have rail joiners that have wires already soldered to them, called terminal rail joiners, that make it easy to connect together. Mr. Muffins, our large layout, 60 feet by 40 feet, is based on Atlas Track. And then we have an extension we're building in Gargraves Track with Ross switches. Let's talk about control systems to control the trains. With MTH's Ready-to-Run train sets, they come with a unit called a DCS Explorer. This is a Wi-Fi device, has its own network. You connect your iPhone or your iPad to, Android, whatever you like, and then you can download a free app from MTH. Just go to MTH DCS, download that app on your phone, and then with that you can run a train. I've got a picture of the app right here running on my iPad. We're going to start up this engine using MTH's DCS.
You know what you're doing.
Pretty cool. Hello again. We're still talking about the control systems for the Ready-to-Run sets. For the Lionel sets, they come with a remote like this that can operate the train basically using Bluetooth, like this steam engine I have right here. So I basically turn this on, add power to the track, the steam engine comes up and it's ready to go. That's its cute little whistle. Since I got another train on the track, I'm going to back it up. Just like that, using the remote. The other thing that we can do with Lionel trains is almost all the trains, particularly the new ones, all the new ones, come with a Lion Chief app that you can run on your iPad. So I just hit the button and the app comes up like that. It says it found this train right here, this Monon 502. We hit the button to match them up. It's synchronized to the Bluetooth on the iPad, and now it's ready to go. Just like that. So I can run the Lionel train sets using a Bluetooth app on an iPad, iPhone, Android, whatever, or I can use the remote that comes in the set. On the high-end Lionel products, we can use a Lionel Legacy controller like this one. It'll run not the engines and the Ready-to-Run sets that have Lion Chief, but the higher-end Lionel products. This thing will run older Lionel TMCC control system, invented by Neil Young, the musician. He wasn't a magician, the musician. And these legacy engines like this Chesapeake and Ohio 1580 we see right here. It is ready to go. Cool. We're talking about controlling trains. In the old days, all the way back to 1900, we controlled the trains by varying the voltage. As we increased the voltage, the train went faster. All trains, regardless of manufacturer, can still run that way. We call it running conventionally. Basically, what you do is apply power to the track, the train comes up and all the lights turn on, and then when you bring the power back down and bring it up again, it comes out of neutral and goes forward. You bring it down again, bring the power back up, and it goes back into neutral, bring it down again, bring the power back up, and it goes to reverse. Just like that. All trains have a conventional unit in there that let it run that way. Like we saw with the MTH Ready-to-Run set, I run my trains on my layout using DCS. Here's a sample of the DCS app running on my iPad. The DCS app controls MTH trains and Lionel trains with TMCC and Legacy. We cannot run Lionel trains with Bluetooth on the DCS app. But on the same iPad, we can run Lionel's Bluetooth app, and so we can still control them from the same device. Whether it's a pad or a smartphone, this works just terrific. Right here, I've got an Erie 210 on the track getting ready to go. We'll start it up. Smoke, lights, and sound. And then we'll just increment the speed. And away it goes.